we are hearing is going to be through the door. Now, let's get to developments involving Marcus Rashford. AC Milan are expected to formally approach Manchester United over the signing of the forward. So far, Flex, it has all just been hearsay, really, and interest, but now we're hearing there might be a formal approach. When you look at all the options that we've heard in terms of interest, a bit from Italy, Como potentially interested, Dortmund have shown interest, West Ham in the Premier League. When you look at all those options, is this starting to look the likeliest and best fit for everyone?
Yeah, I think so. In my opinion, when I've started to look at some of the clubs that have been involved in potentially signing Marcus Rashford on loan in this window, AC Milan was the one that stood out to me as a fan and sort of looking at it from an economical perspective as well. Of course, there are a lot of clubs who can't afford to take Marcus Rashford, which was always going to limit the amount of options he was going to have during this window. And Manchester United were always going to have to look at just how much they would probably have to subsidise in his wages, at least until the end of the season, with Marcus Rashford on a reported £300 a week? £300,000 a week. A little bit more than 300 quid a week.
Was making a fortune.
But the way he's been playing, you know. But £300,000 a week, yes. There's not many clubs who can subsidise that, and Manchester United would have to fork out probably at least, as a minimum, half of that. And AC Milan, I think, are one of the teams, I mean, Kev can enlighten us more, who probably could. I know that Alvaro Morata is their top earner around £160,000 a week or euros a week. So that would probably work out for them. And in terms of the stature of the club and the project, I saw some quotes from Zlatan Ibrahimovic saying, you know, we don't need to convince players to come here. Everybody wants to come to Milan, but obviously he's got his role there. But they are a huge club. And, you know, you look at Tomori there, you look at Ruben Loftus-Cheek there, Tammy Abraham's there, some English lads there that Rashford could, you know, get acquainted with and get his feet under the carpet. And some really good players there. So I think that could work for Rashford.
I'm glad you mentioned those English players, so that brings me neatly onto my next question. Just explain to us the EU rules concerning non-EU players and how they affect Italian sides in particular.
So this is to do with the FIGC, which is basically the Italian league authority, and this is good old Brexit affecting things because obviously English players are no longer EU players, so they now come under that category. They've already got Strahina Pavlovic, who they brought in, Emerson Royale, who they brought in. They've taken up 2 non-EU slots. However, to kind of soften the blow, there was an adjustment made to the rules whereby you can sign a bonus player from Britain or from Albania. So they've looked at non-EU countries and said, OK, you can sign an extra player, but you can't sign 2. So the situation that Milan are in is if they went for Marcus Rashford, that's fine, but they couldn't then go for Kyle Walker in the same window. So they would have to make a decision between who to pursue. And
we are hearing that Rashford is the priority for AC Milan, not Kyle Walker. So speaking of Walker, how does that affect his future? The transfer talk in a moment. We're going to get Kevin's ones to watch in Europe who could be on the move. We've got some big players in there, but we're going to just tie up a few loose ends with Manchester United first, guys. And Antony, Flex, we are hearing that Real, Betis and Olympiacos now have made inquiries. If Manchester United can make a sell, is this one they'd want to make fairly quickly? Because he's a player that they can get a decent fee for, and then that, of course, gives them more options in terms of bringing people in for Amorim.
Yeah, I think ideally that would absolutely be a good solution for Manchester United and Antony, as that move just, to put it quite frankly, just really hasn't worked. He has no confidence at the moment. He's not getting any game time from Ruben Amorim. And even being brought in by Erik ten Hag, and Erik ten Hag stuck by him for a very long time. He ended up losing his place even under Erik ten Hag, so he's had a really, really tough time at Manchester United. And again, we keep finding Manchester United in positions whereby they have players on huge sums of money. Antony reportedly on, you know, in excess of £200,000 a week. Again, in Europe, in January, it's very, very difficult to secure permanent moves, or again, without Manchester United subsidising a large part of that. But I think Ruben Amorim has made it clear that Antony's probably not going to be in his immediate plans. And I think if the right offer comes in for Antony that suits both the player and the club, I'm almost certain that Manchester United would accept it.
Yeah, we heard about the Olympiacos interest a few days ago, actually. But what about Real Betis? Why do they want Antony? Manchester United are about to make a signing. We are hearing Diego Leon, 17-year-old left wing-back from Paraguay, plays for Cerro Porteño in Paraguay. He's having a medical today ahead of finalising a pre-contract agreement for the summer. That looks like that's one for the future, probably 2, 3, 4 years' time. But Molly, do you expect that to not be the only left wing-back that Manchester United sign this January?
I'd be amazed if it was. I mean, Ruben Amorim's style of play, that 3-4-3 setup, they need high energy wing backs, quite frankly. I think, both ends of the pitch. Diogo Dalot did a good job, in fairness, against Liverpool at Anfield, but I can't see him occupying that position on a full-time basis. Ahmad will return to right wing back on a longer term basis as well. So I think creativity on the left is badly needed, and that's not going to be satisfied for Ruben Amorim in just one player.
Yeah, there's possible interest in Nuno Mendes from PSG as well. So anything happens there, we will let you know. Right.